Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are waking up, doing well out there, staying warm. It's rather cold, frigid out there for certain areas, and tonight has the chance to be even colder for certain areas, especially for the southeast. In fact, we will spend some time talking about how low temperatures can potentially get for areas of the southeast, especially the Carolinas, where a surface high will basically slide overhead, really calm the winds down, and you basically won't have any winds, and this will basically allow the opportunity to be there for radiational cooling, which will allow temperatures to plummet. So if you noticed, like in central North Carolina, areas of the Carolinas, that your projected low temperatures for Wednesday morning have been dropping somewhat, that is why, and we're actually going to discuss that in this video. And then we'll talk about this lake effect snow energy just continuing to impact not only areas up against the Great Lakes, but areas hundreds of miles away from the Great Lakes, as we have some kind of snow squally-like weather out there, if you will. And some of this snow could make it all the way to the I-95 corridor throughout the morning and the afternoon hours. So we'll give you some updated information on that. You know, New York City could see some festive flakes today, Boston potentially. Looks like there's some snow flurries currently around the Delmarva region, really only speaking of Maryland and maybe just outside the Washington, D.C., Baltimore region. But we're going to see what happens today. It's going to be an interesting setup with all this energy flying around this area of the country. We'll speak on everybody else, too. A system tonight will enter the West Coast, and we'll certainly discuss that. We'll talk about everything. If you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And if you notice that, I have to clear my throat often in this one specific video. I went to bed last night feeling like I was getting sick. I felt sick overnight. I think I woke up with a fever. It's crazy, I just prayed. I was like, God, please let this be a really fleeting thing, because I really don't want to get sick and I don't want my routine to get messed up. And sure enough, I woke up this morning and I felt, I would say, 80% and not really sick. So I'm feeling okay, but my throat's a little sore. So I'm hoping it doesn't get worse throughout the day. So asking for prayers for that. And of course, if you guys got anything I can pray about or pray over, please put those in the comments below so I can do that. So let's talk about what's going on out there. And for you folks who love me showing the water vapor loop, I'm not completely going away from it. It's just I like to show it when you can really see the factors out there as far as what's driving what's going on out there currently, and it really has not showed a great example of it lately. So just been kind of starting off by showing you guys the radar. And so that's why I really haven't shown it. But the Rockies of the U.S., very quiet. The middle portion of the country, very quiet too. A little bit of maybe some snow flurry activity up here in eastern North Dakota, making its way into northwestern Minnesota. Lake effect snow activity continues off Lake Superior into the central and eastern UP. And you still got the lake effect snows ongoing in the northern sections of lower Michigan, and then portions especially of southwestern Michigan. And this is even affecting areas of northern Indiana. And of course, Lake Erie is still doing its thing, popping off very heavy snow. And some of this has drifted into the Cleveland area now, where it's probably snowing in Cleveland currently. But let me know. I saw some comments from the Cleveland area. Let me know what you guys are seeing. I checked this morning around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it looked like the band was kind of shifting south into the region, so there should be some snow definitely falling in the region right now. But you got some light snow falling in the higher elevations of West Virginia, maybe even some snow flurry activity in the hill country of Kentucky. Let me know what you're seeing out there. But if you look right here in the Northeast, these bands are breaking containment, meaning they're getting away from the Great Lakes. And we could get some snow shower activity, even some snow squalls throughout Pennsylvania, areas of the southern tier today of New York. And of course, this lake effect snow band off Ontario will continue to rage on. But it'll be an interesting day throughout the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast today for sure. But let's go on and talk about the Storm Prediction Center updates. There is still, and we did have thunder snow off Lake Erie yesterday. We kind of expected that to happen, and it did. But there continues to be a threat of thunder snow off Lake Ontario throughout the day today, as this band will continue throughout the next 24 hours. And then later in the time period, we could have some thunderstorms that enters the northern coastline of California. We'll watch for that, but no severe weather expected for today. That could change later this week, and we'll briefly mention that at the end of this video. But any kind of threat for flash flooding is below 5%, so no real threat of any kind of high levels of moisture, but that could also change. I'm not seeing any kind of big-time flooding risk, but I am starting to see multiple storm systems that are going to threaten the south all the way up the eastern seaboard in the coming days into next week. So we'll speak on that probably in the coming videos, but we will speak on it a little bit in this video. But watches and warnings, freeze warnings up for the Gulf Coast line. And guys, if you guys have not seen a freeze in these counties right here in purple, which are freeze warnings, you are going to start off your first freeze of the year, potentially, well, not of the year, but of the 2023-2024 cold season with a bang. Some areas will get well into the upper 20s. And yeah, I mean, it is going to be cold tomorrow morning. If you're wondering why there is no freeze warnings further north, it's because you've already had a freeze. Your growing season has already ended. So therefore, they don't issue freeze warnings anymore. They'll reissue them in the spring when there's a threat for a freeze in the spring. But you see the winter weather advisories in this area. If you're wondering why are these like isolated like this, well, that's because they're up against lake effect snow warnings. And for whatever reason, on Pivotal Weather, which I love their graphic for the watches and warnings, they never show lake effect snow warnings, which is in the green right here. So you guys, like I said, are under the lake effect snow warnings, and that means that you will continue to see the threat of very heavy snow, potential for 1 to 3 inch per hour rates. And areas of south of Buffalo really started getting blasted yesterday evening and been getting blasted all night. So yeah, so go on and can continue to just hunker down from that. I don't know how you guys handle that when the band just sets up right over your area, as far as you guys still try to make it to work, or if they just shut it down for the day or two when you get one of those intense lake effect snow bands that just sit over your area for 2 days straight. I don't know how you head to work. But you guys let me know. I always like to know how you guys handle stuff like that up there. I know it's much different than the south, where if you get an inch of snow, you're shut down for a couple days. But yeah, that's the beauty of it, I guess. But the southeast today, weather-wise, it's quiet. Not really much going on, okay? There could be some shallow moisture that does fly around the higher elevations of North Carolina. For example, Beach Mountain yesterday, it looked like a winter wonderland, but, you know, you look on radar and it doesn't look like much is falling. But that's how it is in the mountains. You know, any kind of shallow moisture that gets pushed up against the southern Appalachian mountain range here in these higher elevations of Tennessee and North Carolina, sometimes can squeeze out just a little bit of moisture. If temperatures are cold enough, I mean, all those light flurries will stick. So, you know, end up getting a half an inch to an inch of snow, and that's enough to make everything look white. So that happens sometimes. It happens often in the fall and the winter especially. But you get into this afternoon, not a whole lot going on, guys. Really quiet conditions, and then temperatures will drop like a rock tonight for the Carolinas and areas of the Southeast. So I want to speak on this. I woke up and I looked at this and I was shocked. Honestly shocked. Okay? Some folks do not see temperatures like this the entire winter. But these are projected low temperatures waking up tomorrow morning. Okay, it's already cold out there this morning, right? Look at North Carolina. Okay, first off, let's look at Atlanta. You know, you're going to get into the mid-20s. Augusta, same thing. Columbia, same thing. All the way down to 30 degrees around the Charleston, Myrtle Beach area. All the way down to 30 potentially in Savannah. Deep into the 20s, even into the heart of Georgia. I mean, potential for... This is one of those nights where if you live away from the city and the higher populated regions, where temperatures can be anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees lower. So, for example, here in my area in Columbia, South Carolina, if you're, you know, in the suburbs or whatever, temperatures, you know, might get down to the mid to low 20s. But you head on off to kind of the country regions, is like what we like to say, or the rural areas, temperatures can get all the way down to, you know, 17, 18 degrees, okay, just outside the city. And here in central South Carolina, a surface high will slide over it. So basically, you're going to have high pressure, and what we know about high pressure is winds go around high pressure. When you're immediately under high pressure, there's no winds. It's calm conditions, and it's basically optimal for radiational cooling, which means you're going to notice heading home from work here in the Raleigh area, point south, point southwest, and west, that on your way home from work, if you work an 8 to 5 job, you're going to notice your thermometer on the car just dropping like a rock. I mean, temperatures will probably be already around freezing easily by the time you go to bed tonight, okay? But they are going for the mid to low teens in the heart of North Carolina, okay? And, you know, I was reading the discussion from this, and a buddy of mine on Twitter brought this to my attention, and it discusses this, why they have actually lowered the temperatures. It says, tonight, as a surface high slides over us, and this is from the National Weather Service in Raleigh, winds will become calm. A few high clouds may stream in from the northwest, but otherwise optimal radiational cooling should be in place for near record lows. In the middle teens to low 20s, okay, we favor the colder guidance given the anomalously cold air mass. Some outlying areas could even dip into the lower teens as the national blend of models shows a 70% probability of less than 10 degrees over portions of Randolph, I think they pronounce that Chatham. You guys in North Carolina, let me know, and more counties. Okay, those are the favored counties. So, man, we could break record low temperatures tonight. Okay, some areas could get into the single digits. That is outrageous for late November standards. So I thought, especially me living in the Carolinas, I live here in central South Carolina in the Columbia, Lexington region. I mean, I know I got a lot of people who tune in from North Carolina. If you live in central North Carolina, even outside, even in the PD and in the Piedmont, but man, if you live like in the heart of North Carolina, man, don't let it surprise you. And I would protect, if you got a well, I would protect your pipes, do what you got to do, because this could catch some people by surprise. It really could. So let's talk about the Northeast. So out there right now, let's take a look at the radar out of New York. It doesn't show what's going on very well, but it's snowing. You got a lot of snow reports, and this is just the radar out of New York. So you probably have moisture over here that you're not really seeing, but you have a snow squall warning right here in the western sections of Maryland. So heavy snow falling here. Let's see if we can actually pull out the radar. Let's go to Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh would be a good radar to look at. And here it is. Heavy snow falling in these regions in western Maryland. It's snowing in Morgantown, probably some snow falling in Pittsburgh. And this energy is breaking containment. Reading, Pennsylvania, Lancaster, not sure how y'all pronounce it in Pennsylvania, but Allentown, this area right here is seeing some snow. And I definitely think you're going to see some snow showers in New York today, New York City. Okay, so an interesting day for sure. And if you look at the HRRR model, guys, it's going to be impossible to predict where these bands kind of float around out here. But as you're getting into the late morning hours, this is around lunchtime. Look at all this snow shower activity, even snow squalls. Don't be surprised in Pennsylvania. You get snow squall warnings today. This is the day for it, for sure. You got lake-to-lake connection, right? Meaning, we got energy coming from Lake Huron down to the northern sections of Lake Michigan, to Lake Huron, all the way down to Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. So mean lake effect snowband continues for the southern sections of Ontario, and just a scattered burst of light to moderate, even at times heavy snow that could create whiteout conditions throughout Pennsylvania. And this will last throughout the afternoon hours. And look at all this snow shower activity, even as far south as Maryland, northern Delaware, New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, all the way to New Hampshire, Vermont, southern New England. A lot of snow shower activity today, maybe some flurries. And it's going to be kind of one of those days where the sun's out, and then all of a sudden you see a big dark cloud heading towards you, and it's snow. It's not rain, it's snow. And you could get a big burst of snow for sure. And depending on how heavy it is, it could put a coating of snow on the ground, okay? And I think by the time we get into this evening, okay, this will simmer down, but then the lake effect snow will continue. Just not as intense, I don't think, across Lake Ontario, Lake Erie. The band might set up a little bit further south. I think, what was it, Rochester in the northern Finger Lakes region. You guys could certainly see heavy snow. This band could definitely set up and affect areas more so of Syracuse, the Fulton region, as it was set up a little bit further north. But then it could shift a little bit further north again. And then as we're waking up tomorrow morning, a little clipper system moves in, and it starts snowing again tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. So definitely a wintry day across this area for sure. And you look at how much snow could fall between now and tomorrow morning. Several inches of snow again will add up, okay? And like I said, let me know what you're seeing in Cleveland. We'll look at the radar out of Cleveland. I am interested. Man, that plane is loud over my house right now. I'm sure you guys can't hear it, but it is loud. Look at that band that just went over Cleveland. I'll be interested to see how much snow you guys got off this band. They've closed some schools up here north of Cleveland. But, yeah, that was an intense band that just moved over Cleveland. It's still snowing. Let me know how much snow you saw off that. But, it's snowing in Indianapolis down here, snowing around Cincinnati. You got some snow flurries being reported in Kentucky, in eastern Kentucky. So some of this is reaching the ground. So yeah, just a snowy morning up here for sure. So, but snowfall between now and the next 24 hours. I don't think Cleveland will pick up a lot today, but certainly a couple more inches. But you make your way into northeast Ohio, of course the Erie area, another half a foot to a foot of snow expected in these areas. Could pick up another several inches south of Buffalo, and then another maybe foot and a half of snow over the next 24 hours for you sections up here, like between Watertown and Syracuse will get blasted. And then, even in these higher kind of elevations of Pennsylvania, an inch and a half from these snow squalls. But what I want you to notice is look at these little areas of a dusting showing up here around Scranton. You guys could get a dusting from these snow showers and snow squalls today. Allentown, maybe a dusting all the way into northern sections of New Jersey. It's going, they're going for a half an inch of snow, maybe a couple tenths of an inch of snow, enough to put a dusting on the ground, maybe. We'll see what happens with this. This will be very interesting. We look at more of New York and what this looks like. And, National Weather Service is saying a couple tenths of an inch of snow for Long Island, certain areas. And, the Adirondacks could get a couple inches, and you definitely could get a few inches up against these higher elevations of the Green and White Mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire. So, yeah, that's an update on that. Hopefully that covers the bases there. But the south central U.S., most of the rest of the country is quiet. Yeah, most of the rest of the quietest country. There you go. That makes sense. But the south central U.S., quiet weather today. Cool day for sure, below average temperature-wise. And not a drop of rain or flake of snow. The snow will continue to melt if a lot of it hasn't melted already in Kansas. And, yeah, you will continue to get that snow melt as you guys picked up a ton of snow a few days ago. But up here in the north central U.S., this lake effect snow energy will continue to funnel off Lake Superior. Probably not quite as intense as yesterday. You will continue to get just snow showers throughout the afternoon, throughout Michigan today. And then another piece of energy will fly through later this evening. And then this can deliver snow as far south as northern Wisconsin. This will put a lot of snow into sections of the UP of Michigan. Pretty much everybody in the UP will see snow as this little clipper energy moves through over Lake Superior, over the Great Lakes, the northern Great Lakes region. And this little piece of energy that flies through, have a lot of cold air with it, and it could, dump several inches of snow on you folks. And then as we're getting into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow, we could wake up to some moderate to heavy snow throughout northern Michigan, and this continues to head off, and then we could get some more lake effect snow that gets kick-started again in the eastern UP tomorrow afternoon. But snowfall between now and the next just 24 hours, 4 to as much as 8 inches of snow in the eastern sections of the UP, a couple inches in the western sections of the UP, but certainly Marquette will get some snow off this. In fact, Marquette, they're going for a few inches, and you start to get, and pretty much the entire eastern UP, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches, I would say. And then more snow here in the northern sections of lower Michigan, several inches. Some areas will get 6 to 10 inches from this. So we'll continue to pick up snow down here. But yeah, go on and expect more snow in this region throughout the day and night up here, especially later this evening. Western U.S., most of the day is pretty quiet. And then as we start to get to around dinner time, some showers will make their way into the northern coastline of California. Not a big deal. Not a very cold system either. Maybe some very high elevation snow, but this will bring some heavier showers into the San Francisco area, points north. And you eventually might get some shower activity as we're getting into tomorrow, all the way down to the southern shores of California. But this isn't going to add up to much. This will move in later tonight. And just between now and the next 24 hours, all the way out to Thursday morning, quarter inch, half inch at most along the coastline of California. Not a lot, not a very strong system initially. So, temperatures today, these are high temperatures. Starting to warm up in Texas, 50s and 60s. Southeast, cold. Guys, this is pretty cold temperatures for Tennessee for late November. Temperatures will struggle to get out the 30s. Northern Kentucky won't get above freezing. Okay, just 50s. Just 50s for northern areas of Florida, low 50s for the Carolinas, and yeah, just a cold day, guys. And you're not going to get above freezing. So that is why I worry about these snow squalls today, like in Pennsylvania and surrounding states, is because, I mean, it's going to be happening with temperatures in the 20s. So, every flake that falls, I mean, it's going to stick. It's going to be blowing around, and you get a heavy enough burst of snow in some of these areas. I mean, it could cause road issues for sure. So definitely be prepared for this weather today. But you can really see where the axis of the coldest air is for sure. With just highs in the teens up here in the upper Midwest. And, guys, you look at this, watch how cold the temperatures drop. And the HRRR model might not pick up on it well, but temperatures really just drop like a rock tonight in 2 areas of the Southeast. And it's going to get colder than this. Model guidance is definitely way too warm, but temperatures will really drop very quickly in the Southeast. I'm actually going to be fascinated to see how fast they drop, even in my neck of the woods. But high temperatures out west, warming up. You're starting to thaw out up here in Montana, 40s and 50s, and higher elevations not going to get above freezing, but that's nothing totally unusual for this time of the year. Starting to warm up a little bit more in the Southwest, but still a chilly day. And just in general, temperatures for a lot of these areas still below average, but for a lot of people, for some people it's above average. But you always got to stick to your local people out here out west, because just all depends on how high up you live. So what's coming, guys? We're not going to stay on this long, maybe a minute or two, but I'm going to tell you now, as we're getting into Thursday, another system basically cuts or ejects across the middle of the country. Okay, this is going to introduce an opportunity for severe weather for areas of maybe the deep south, especially like south central areas and Louisiana. Another severe weather threat. Okay, kind of what we saw last week, but as of right now, it's just a slight risk. Okay. But this will move, and it's definitely going to be a favorable track to pull out that warm, moist air, which is a severe weather ingredient. This is going to move north, not a very cold system, mainly just rain from the northeast, and then another low pressure is going to develop, and this is going to bring. I'm going to go on and warn you guys across the south, southeast, I mean even the eastern U.S. It's going to be a soggy weekend. If you got any outdoor activities coming this weekend, it's not going to be a great weekend for it at all. I will tell you there's going to be a hefty storm system that moves into the Pacific Northwest later this week. And we begin to break down the details of this. This is going to bring some monster snow totals to the Cascades and the Northwest. So we'll talk about that. Could bring a lot of winds too. It's a pretty strong low. But, you continue to look at all this rain here as we're getting into Saturday, getting into Sunday. And then as we're getting into early next week, here comes another system. Okay, so active times, we got to figure out the pattern after this, all those good things. But this first system is going to bring a severe weather threat. Okay, Houston, Lufkin, up into sections of Louisiana. It really likes this area, southeast Texas, which makes sense with the placement of this low pressure. We'll break this down in the videos to come and try to figure this out for you folks. And yeah, God bless all y'all. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.